Hello, this is Dr. Michael Gottfried, chiropractor, Equina Chiropractic for the Chiropractic Society of Rhode Island's podcast, Get a Spine. And with me today is Dr. Eleanor Stump, who has a number of firsts in her resume. So, Dr. Eleanor, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, well, thank you, Michael. I originally relocated from Delaware, where I was a chiropractor for 43 years. And then I moved up to your wonderful state of Rhode Island. And I'm in practice with Dr. Kristen Fabrise on Hope Street in Providence. Anyway, what originally got me into chiropractic was I was teaching elementary school in Florida, and I was visiting my sister in Fort Lauderdale, and a laundry truck hit us from behind, bam, and that was my whiplash, and pushed us in the oncoming lane, and then a car hit my side of my head. Anyway, so I had two impacts. Did not know about chiropractic. So 6 months later, I finally got one adjustment, and I said, that's what I want to do. So I went out to Iowa, Davenport, and I met the third generation Dr. Palmer, and I also met his wife, Agnes, who, since it's Valentine's Day, gave me a nice little heart pin. Also met Dr. Sherman down in South Carolina when he opened Sherman College. Talked to him around the little small table. So I have gotten to hear a little bit about the philosophy firsthand. And I got to practice in Delaware, like Dr. Michael said, 43 years there. And now I'm here in Rhode Island.
Terrific. Well, welcome. And like a number of chiropractors, one of the reasons why you got into it was for your own personal health and the success you had in getting treatment. So that's wonderful. And why don't you tell us a little bit about the early days of chiropractic for you in Delaware? You were possibly one of the first, if not women, certainly licensed in Delaware, and one of the early licensees in the whole state anyway. Number 43, you said, or 42?
Well, 43. Anyway, when I was in, I have to back up just a little, because when I was in Davenport, Iowa, I met a Japanese acupuncturist and bone setter. He and his wife came over from Japan to Davenport. So he, Dr. Fukumbara, could understand the philosophy. He manipulated, but he did not know the philosophy. So therefore, I ended up training to become a black belt. This is one of the first. I am the first female Caucasian black belt in Syringe Kempo in the world. And the points you attack are acupuncture points. And later I got my acupuncture degree from Parker College and practiced acupuncture in Delaware. But Dr. Fukumbara also was very interested in the philosophy. So we we always talked about philosophy and how all that comes together, because being a black belt, it helped me as a woman and being short be able to manipulate bigger people. So through the black belt, I learned stamina and posture, and then a few Oriental techniques that most people would not know.
All right, folks. So be aware. Dr. Stump is a black belt, the first woman in the world in this particular Kempo pursuit. So I'd say that's pretty darn impressive. I lay mild claim to my Tai Chi instruction that I've been at for about 45 years, but there's no belt, and I don't consider myself a master, though I have done some teaching. So how's it been for you in your transition to Rhode Island? How's that been for you?
It's been good. I am working now with Dr. Fabrise at 255 Hope Street, Providence. Everything has been a little more difficult because I have a cell phone, and it's a Maryland cell phone. So it's a which complicates the issue. That's a little bit of a problem. But anyway, everything's been great. I moved up here to be closer to my daughter and working full time. I only got to have one child. So the plan was when she ever got to have a baby and I became a grandmother, I would always tell the patients, if she doesn't hurry up, the baby and I both will be crawling. But I'm still walking, talking, and standing. So I moved up here, and the little baby is 2.5, and it's a boy. So I'm learning all about cars and trucks and excavators,
All
which
right.
I had no idea.
It's all good. You'll be able to show him some karate, some kempo also. So,
Well, that's right. He likes to kick. So, yeah.
so it's all good. So we'll be hopefully interviewing Dr. Eleanor's daughter, Dr. Mariah, who is a practicing MD in Providence at a later date. Interestingly, and we know that there was 2 chiropractors in the Stump family and 1 MD. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah, my husband at the time, we both were teachers. We went through Palmer together, and with the black belt from Japan, it was like the Three Musketeers. If one went one way, we all three went. But anyway, yeah. So he is down in Alabama with his own practice, and yeah, we got to have one child.
Got it. And what do you notice about the pandemic in practice? Has it changed some of the things that you've been doing?
Well, I have noticed that people that are older that I talk on the phone with, they're very paranoid. They don't go out at all. And over a year now, I think it's definitely affecting their mental capabilities because you have to just go on and live your life, period. So, but I've noticed with the patients that since they're all doing work from home, they're taking their laptops, putting them on the kitchen table without any supportive chair behind them. It's affecting their neck problems, more headaches because they're leaning their head forward, and more lower back problems because it's not supportive.
And thank you for bringing that up. For certainly a chiropractic problem for sure. And both Dr. Eleanor and myself are involved in a Chiropractic Society of Rhode Island project called Straighten Up Rhode Island. And what that's about is just what Dr. Eleanor was talking about, giving helpful hints in the pandemic crisis, pandemic challenge. Let's call it a challenge. And that's, if you go to straightenupRhodeIsland.com, you'll find some of our helpful hints. You put on a video related to some of the stretches you were just talking about, right?
That's right. And how by always leaning forward with our cell phone, with the computer, then we have to do exercises to bring our head back. The same thing with our lower back. We have to support our lower back while we're working on the computer.
As we, both know, that forward head posture obviously can cause stress and degenerative changes in the neck, and it can translate all the way down. And so certainly, as you said, a lot of people are coming up with headache, neck problems, shoulder problems, and also low back problems.
Yeah.
So though we don't think of these issues per se as trauma to the body, they're not major trauma, but they're ongoing stresses. And ongoing stresses can be just as serious as one-time stresses, and they're just less obvious sometimes.
Mhm.
So it's our job as chiropractors to educate people. And I'm sure you're doing that.
That's right. And also, I give patients yoga exercises because that's very important. And I've taught yoga 43 years. I haven't started teaching up here yet because I wanted the practice to get going first. But anyway, I always keep everything simple, being an elementary teacher. So I tell the yoga students two words: breathing and balance. And that means as we're doing our exercises, we need to be doing the correct breathing. And then also the balance is not only with standing on one leg or whatever, but to balance your diet with the environment. So that's important, especially up here. We've had 3 snows within a week, I think. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. So certainly yoga and chiropractic go hand in hand with the focus on flexibility and postural exercises. And my first introduction to what might be called holistic health was back in '73 when I took a 6-day. The first thing I did was take a 6-day yoga retreat, and then was also introduced to Tai Chi back then by a master who happened to be present there, who was giving classes also. So I met some master yogis and Tai Chi teacher at that point in time. And so that started my pursuit. And then I got into chiropractic a few years later when I started looking for a way to kind of put that all together. So what else? What do you now? Dr. Fabry, I think, is her practice is family oriented. Does she see a number of children also?
Yes, we see it just like everybody, variety of age.
So not everybody realizes that kids have spines
Right.
and that they have spinal stress.
Yes, they do. And they fall around. They trip and fall. And as they mature, it's good to just keep a check on them, their leg length, and you start to massage their back and if they scrunch up or something, then they have pain. They might not say it's pain because they don't really know, but you can tell just by the palpation and the muscle spasm.
So we want to start that as early as possible. Unfortunately, a lot of people wait and wait and wait and wait, and then they're in their 60s or 70s, and they've got all those years of stress piled on, and they've got degenerative changes. And so the prognosis, the possibility for success is always there, but it becomes more difficult with the more years of stress on the spine. When early on, if we can start people with good habits, good stretching, good everything, good health related living tips, then perhaps we could make a profound difference on their health over the long run.
That's right. And also, I've seen quite a few new patients, and a lot of them have had a motor vehicle accident, never went to a chiropractor, went to PT, they were released, and they were never adjusted or getting their spine back in line. And and then of course it's not that you have to undo, you have to start from scratch, and their body is already compensated. So it like Dr. Michael said, it's more of a challenge.
Yeah, you're right about that. Certainly with the auto accidents, I see almost invariably, people who aren't, we're talking about people who aren't major traumatized, have gone to the ER, but even then, also perhaps, again, they're just focusing on that initial trauma. The problem that I see oftentimes is 3 to 5 years down the road when you do the history, and now they're coming in for headaches and unexplained neck pain, and then you do the history, and almost invariably 3 to 5 years back, there was not fully treated, like you said, not properly treated motor vehicle accident that set them up for loss of the proper curve and stress in the muscles of the neck and irritation to the nerves and the whole bit. So we just it's our job to educate people in spinal care, and spinal care is totally important to total care for the body, mind, body, and spirit, right?
Correct. Just like in chiropractic, it's called head, hands, and heart.
You got it. And from above down, inside out.
You got it. That's it. Get the big idea, all else follows.
All right. So one more time, Dr. Eleanor, What's the best way for anybody who's listening to contact you?
Yes. It's uh, Be Well Chiropractic, 255 Hope Street, Providence. And the phone number is a 401, as you all know, 337-5684. And I say, keep your spine in line and you will feel fine.
You got it.
Thank you.
Spine in line, feel fine. So this is Dr. Michael Gottfried with the Chiropractic Society of Rhode Island podcast, Get a Spine. And thank you very much, Dr. Eleanor Stump, for
Thank you.
enlightening us.